So welcome to, or welcome back to, the Paint Can channel. I want to thank you for stopping in today. We're going to be taking a quick ride over to Excel Motorsports in Hubbardsville, New York, because anyone who is in the state of New York that lives here, once a year, you've got to have an annual safety inspection, whether it be a motorcycle, car, truck, whatever it is. It has to come in once a year for an annual safety inspection. So he's my local dealer, buddy of mine, so I'm going to stop in his shop, give him the $6, get me a inspection sticker, and I will be legal for another year. Basically, for those of you who may not be in a state that does safety inspections, they check all the lights, check your tires, check your brakes, levers, stuff like that, see if anything is noticeably bad, and charges $6, which is a state mandated price, and send you on your way. Most shops don't like doing that because, let's face it, shop rates are a whole lot more expensive than that, and it takes 20 minutes to a half hour to do an inspection, and they're only allowed to charge $6. But so it's not real good for the shops, but it's a lot better for us as vehicle owners that we don't have to pay a shop rate to do it. So kind of a catch-22 there for the shops. And the good part for the shops that do the inspections is if they find something wrong with it, more often than not that customer will have them fix the problem. Then they get a shop rate out of it, and it's worth doing the inspections. But otherwise, not a great business venture for them. So about a 20-minute or so ride over to that shop. Figured I'd take you along and maybe go for a little bit of a ride after that, a few miles. Got some stuff to do this afternoon, so won't have a tremendous amount of time to goof off, but maybe a little bit, so stick around. But the main thing, like I said before, we're coming out today to get a New York State safety inspection. And I guess with that, the one thing I really want to hit on today is safety in your motorcycle. You shouldn't just inspect your vehicle. I don't care whether it's 2 wheels, 4 wheels, or whatever it is. You shouldn't just inspect it once a year. Yeah, inspect it once a year with a shop to get the sticker put on it for another year so that you're legal with the state. But you should do regular inspections. I didn't, and I don't usually. I don't know if I ever have put it on video, but when I get on the bike, especially if I haven't ridden it in a few days or whatever, maybe a week, I'll throw an air pressure gauge on the tires just to make sure they're where they're supposed to be. I've got a compressor right there in the garage. I can blow them up. Otherwise, just grab a hold of things and kind of wiggle them. I like to grab the tire and try to give it a little jiggle back and forth. It's not a good way to check your wheel bearings, but if you got a wheel bearing that is definitely starting to go, you may feel a little bit of jiggle in there. If your bike is the type where you can see down in and see your brake pads, take a look at them. Your rotors will be right out there, except for, some of the older Golden Wings had big covers over them, but most bikes you can see your rotors. And if you got really weird wear marks on them or whatever, take it apart, look it over, or go somewhere that's a certified shop, have them look it over, because safety is number one out here. We may not always wear proper riding gear, but it sure helps mitigate any issues if you have brakes or your tires are not about to go boom, or check for the tire tread, check that your mirrors are adjusted. We might overlook some of those simple things, but if you can't see in your mirror, you can't see what's coming up behind you. So do a run through of your lights. Honestly, all of this stuff total, if you gotta adjust some stuff, you're only talking a few minutes. And a few minutes for safety is a big thing. That couple of minutes isn't gonna, in most cases, hurt you any, but failure to inspect your bike before you take off, that might hurt you some. So I'd hate to see anybody out there getting hurt just because they didn't look over their bike. And I was talking to a riding brother just up the road yesterday at a church event, and he was talking about his brother had bought an older Aspen cake. He said he personally, he's a Harley guy. So to jump on a Honda, that wasn't really his the first thing he'd like to do in life, but that's okay. He went over and grabbed his brother's Aspencade, rode it home. His brother said he'd checked it over pretty good. It was a good solid bike, so you know, if you could just go over and grab it for me, bring it home. So he did. He gets home and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna look this thing over. The front end just didn't, I don't know, didn't feel right. But then again, it's a different style bike, so maybe it's just the style of bike I wasn't used to. When he looked at the front tire, he said there was a major crack all the way around the front tire. He says, that was incredibly stupid of me to not look that over before I got on the bike. Yes, I know the guy said it was safe and all that, but I should have checked it myself. And he definitely, I mean, this man's in his 60s. He's been riding all his life. He's been members of a 1% MC. I mean, he lives the motorcycle life, but even someone like himself, that I'd hate to guess how many miles he has under his belt, but he overlooked it. He just, you know, believed somebody told him it was good and good to go. Well, as it turns out, it wasn't. So I just want to stress to you that extra couple minutes it takes before we take off on a ride, take that time, check it over, and make sure everything is okay. And also, in your area, if you can help out the local shops, those are the guys that are going to be there for you. I know this one that I'm going to, like I said, to open this video up, he's a buddy of mine. And he ran a racetrack for a couple seasons, doing drag races with snowmobiles and with MRA mud drag trucks. And I worked for him for that. I've helped him out on a few things. He's helped me out on a lot of things. Just good friendship back and forth. And I think that's the best thing we can do, is fraternize the local smaller shops. Even if they're a dealership, in this case, he's a dealership for Yamaha and he's a dealership for Polaris. I buy all my parts through him because he helps me out, and he helps me out because I buy all my parts through him. So it's a one hand washes the other type of a situation with him. And you know, we've got a good relationship and a good working relationship back and forth as well. So I know that when I go into his shop, if there's any possibility he can squeeze me in to do something, he will. A lot of times I don't have to call up and make an appointment 2 weeks or 3 weeks at a time. Sometimes I can just call him up and say, hey man, you free in about a half hour? I need something quick done. And yeah, we'll drop what we're doing, we'll get it done for you. But it truly helps to be friends with a local shop. Don't just go in and demand that they do things for you, or go in and demand anything, but develop a relationship, develop a friendship where you know them by name, they know you by name, and you're willing to work with each other back and forth. Because again, those are the shops that when you break down and you need parts right now because you got to go on a ride tomorrow, or you've got whatever planned, those are the shops that are going to break their back to try to get you out on the road in a hurry. So there is one other shop that I actually bought 2 bikes off him. I bought 2 bikes off that guy. I bought a 3-wheeler way back in the day off him, and the one I'm going to now, I've only bought, actually this bike I'm riding right now, I bought from him. But this other shop, they're a good shop. They do great work, but the personal, I don't know, the relationship's not there. So I don't choose to go there unless I'm in a bind. Whereas at this shop I need parts and they don't have it, can't get it quickly, something like that, I may call the other one, see if they've got it in stock, and if not, I'll order it through my main shop here. But like I said, just if we can help support the smaller ones, those are the ones that will help support us. I was, as we see, we're only, I don't know, a mile or so away You see when we pull in that literally directly across the road from this shop is the main office of the company I've been working for the last year. I'm very seldom at the main office because as a truck driver, I'm all over New York and I would say north central Pennsylvania. So I don't get to the shop much unless I'm actually delivering a load there. But I pulled in once and my trailer had a mechanical issue on it, and I carry some tools with me but not a lot. Well, between me and one of the guys that was still at the shop hadn't left for the day, we scrounged enough tools to almost do the job we had to do, but not quite. So this is where my local motorcycle shop comes in. I walked across the road and I say, man, I gotta ask you for a big favor. Yeah, what do you need? Man, I need about like a 5/16 Allen wrench. He walks out in the shop, grabs me a whole set and a ratchet, and he goes, there you go. I said, man, I don't know if we're going to be done by the time you close. He goes, all right, this is where I want you to hide it when you're done, so that, you know, it's safe and I can get my tools in the morning, but no big deal. Don't care. So that's what I'm talking about with building relationships with these shops, because as you can see on the left here, Brodell Energy and the truck there, Ferguson Fuels, is all part of the Brodell Fuel Group. And then right here, Excel Motorsports, you see the Yamaha and Polaris signs out here. As you can see by the building, they're not a real big dealer, but they also have Hustler lawnmowers. They've got Bobcat, Redneck, deer blinds. He's into quite a bit of stuff. He doesn't do a lot of street stuff because it just doesn't sell in this area. It's a lot of dirt, a lot of side-by-sides and wheelers. So I'm going to be jumping out here, and I'll be back with you when I get my new sticker. So like I was saying, you treat your dealer good, they treat you good. They had a shop full of four-wheelers and side-by-sides, and had one dirt bike in there, a bunch of stuff outside sitting and waiting. So I just went into Ken, one of the mechanics, and say, man, I just need a sticker quick. So he dropped what he was doing, came out, walked around the bike real quick, checked things over real quick. He did an honest inspection on it. I mean, he checked the lights, checked the tires, checked the tightness, the looseness, you know, all the stuff like it should be. Did a legit inspection like I would expect them to do, because I mean, I don't want to go over there and do the lick it and stick it sticker thing like a lot of people do. I want to have a legit inspection, because they might see something that I would miss and I'd like to have it fixed. I mean, a couple days ago, well, you'll see it last week's video, that I did 445 miles that day, and you know, I'm that far away from home. I want to make sure my equipment's up to snuff, so I don't want to have them cut any corners. And you know, their inspection license is on the line, so they don't cut any corners either. Very reputable shop there. So like I said, he dropped everything, bing bang boom, looked it over, put the sticker on it. Now we're good to go, legal for another year. And I know the bike is as safe as I thought it was anyway, because I mean, like I said before I got to the shop, I checked it over good myself, and I'm not a mechanic by any means, but I do know one end of a wrench from another, and I can do the majority of the work on the bike myself. I do have to schedule something in, and I talked to him, I don't know, a week or so ago about getting us in to do some computer programming on it. And I was supposed to drop it off last week. I had to shoot him a text and say, man, I'm not going to be able to make it. Things fell through. So he thought I was pulling in to do that, and his eyes got big, and they're like, holiday weekend coming up, we're not going to be able to get it in. I said, no, just an inspection. I'll get with you on the other when things, you know, get more controllable in the shop. So taking a different route home. area I always find nice to ride. I really enjoy riding this area. A few uphills, downhills around the corner. A few really sharp corners that even on a bike much more than about 15 miles an hour you're going to be scraping. So some of those are nice, but a lot of just winding roads. A little bit of a breeze, and when you get in a breeze anyway, we're going down the road, but it's got to be upper 80s, lower 90s today. The humidity's not too bad, but it's definitely a hot day, so that little bit of a breeze while I was back at the shop was definitely nice. Definitely appreciated that, and went into the showroom area for a little while because, well, they got AC in there, and that was nice. Talked to the owner. Aaron's a great guy. Harold at the parts desk, service desk, kind of 2-in-1, because again, it's a small place, so he takes care of the parts and the service. So I told him I'd get with him as far as when we're going to do the programming, because when I bought the bike off them, it was kind of an odd deal, because I bought it in 2021. The bike is a 2018, so you would think it's a 3-year leftover, but it actually wasn't. The story goes, a factory rep with Yamaha, he took it home. I don't know what the deal is, but I guess if you're high enough up in the food chain, you can just grab a bike and take it home and own it, put a dealer plate on it and ride it. Well, so this guy had done that quite a few times, and I guess he had a garage full of bikes. Got this home and he goes, why did I do that? I got too many bikes. So it just sat around. Literally had 67 miles on it when Excel got it, and when I bought it, but I bought it as new because it had never been licensed, so it came with a full 5-year warranty, the whole deal. So that was a pretty neat deal to be able to get a what I would consider a killer deal on it, because obviously it's not going to bring brand new price, because as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's no longer new in any case. But going from no longer new to no longer new and 3 years old, it's going to take a massive price hit. So they took Yamaha, being they took the massive price hit, and I was able to get it at a really good price. But when that rep did that, he also ordered basically one of everything that Yamaha made for the bike. So if you watch my iron butt ride, you'll see that I had a much higher clear windshield on it. Now I got the short tinted one. Well, this one actually was clear when I got it, but I tinted the windshield. I just think that it looks better, and I put that taller windshield on it just because running a longer distance, it takes some of the wind pressure off you. That's the only time actually I've run that bigger windshield. It just, I don't know, to me I like the smaller one. I think it looks better on the bike, and you don't get a lot of wind in your face with any windshield, especially when you're talking a full fairing bike anyway, but you still do get some. So I like the fact that I can get a little bit of wind even with this full fairing, so that's why I've got the smaller one on. But it also came with fog lights that go down in the lowers, wind deflectors on the center part of the fairing on the sides, heel toe shifter, I don't know what you call it, basically a new end for the rear brake lever to match the heel toe shifter, and a low style sissy bar backrest with all the mounting hardware, all that type of thing on it. So there's a lot of parts in that box, and I got about 65% off, because there again, it was not necessarily in boxes because the guy had planned on putting it on. So there's one big old box with all the parts in it, and they're all brand new, never been put on. but some of it didn't have directions. So with that, how can you sell it as new? So he contacted this dealer. The dealer contacted me and said, you know, I got this stuff coming. Do you want it? I'm like, absolutely. So I put all the stuff on, and I can't thank them enough for the deal that I got buying the bike. And I thought they gave me a really fair trade-in value for my 14 Yamaha Striker that I traded in, because this dealership really doesn't do trade-ins. He's not a fan of doing any type of trade-in, but if he knows the person well, knows the bike well, he will. But he usually he's not thrilled with doing it. And even if he's a friend of yours, he's not really going to give you all that great of a trade-in. But I think he really knew the bike and what I had done to it, because I put a tremendous amount of aftermarket stuff on it. So he gave me a good deal on that, gave me a good deal on this bike, so it was kind of a no-brainer. I had to do it. And the only reason I really knew anything about any looter is because in 2018, when they first came out, it was funny, I stopped in just like I did today for an inspection with my Striker, and I'd only had it, well, it was a 14, I bought it in 16, so I'd had it 2 years at that point. So he was out mowing the lawn, and his son was in the shop. He was asking what I needed. I said, I need an inspection sticker, and I need the key to that bike. He said, actually, Dad's going to be keeping that bike for a little while, using it not necessarily as a demo, but allowing some people to ride it. So yeah, go ask him. So I asked him, and I have to laugh because he said absolutely. Well, I hit the switch. It's a fob, so it's not a key switch, but I hit the switch to turn it on, and it literally had 5 miles on it. He had just assembled it on Friday, rode it to his house 2.5 miles away Friday night, rode it back to the shop Saturday morning, and that's the only miles that were put on that bike. So I literally jumped on that bike with 5 miles on it, and my daughter jumped on the back. We went out for a ride, but he warned me before we left. He goes, I know you really like your Striker, but this bike is going to wreck you. He goes, once you ride it, you're never going to find another bike you want. Once you ride it, it's going to wreck you for every other bike out there. Well, I played tough guy coming back, and I'm like, man, I don't know, but he knew, and I knew, that bike had wrecked me. So last June, I went into the dealership, and this one was sitting there. Well, I know that Yamaha only made this motorcycle for 2018, so I know it must be a used bike. So I just walked on by. I haven't looked at it. Like, I really like the looks at it. It catches my eye, so I really like the look of it. And knowing that when I rode his black one that it did wreck me, he says, I know you think that's used, but that's a new one. Well, I was on the hook at that point. And I love joking with him about it, because the Striker, I only bought that. I bought that off a different dealership just because it was a leftover. But when I bought that, it was because when they first came out in 2000, I believe it was 10, first year of them, he had it demoed that the factory dropped off for a couple weeks. And he told me I had to ride it, so don't have to tell me twice. So I rode it, and I really, really like that Striker, and that's why I ended up buying it. So I joke with him that I don't want to test ride anything he's got, because I'm going to end up buying it a few years later. But I'm hoping possibly within the next few videos, there's deer in the field, hopefully within the next few videos, when I drop this off, to have some of that programming done. He's got, can't even remember the name, Nikon, I think's the name of it. One of those Yamahas that's got 2 front wheels. It's kind of like a sport bike sort of a design, but it's got 2 front wheels. He's got one of those he's using for demos. I wanted to take it today, but just some things I had to get home for, so I was unable to. But I'm going to try to do a demo on that, give you my thoughts and first impressions. I don't think those are still being produced. I think they were a 1 or 2 year run only on those. But, you know, in case you're in the market for something that's maybe odd, definitely different from the norm, you know, maybe that's something you'd want to watch a video on. So I'm going to do a test ride, first impressions. Obviously not a long-term review on it by any means, but I'm not sure if he still has it. But he did have a Tenere 700. I didn't see it in there today. That he was hanging on to that and doing some riding himself on that. So if that's around, I'm gonna try to get you a video on the Tenere 700. Again, not some long-term review or anything, but just first impressions, that type of things. I know he would let me ride either one of them. He'd let me ride about anything there. So hopefully we can put that together for you. Because again, when you make these relationships with these dealers, they allow you to do these sorts of things. And that's what I'd like to stress with you the most. There's some times where dealer number one, you become friends with them, but dealer number two might have a little better deal on something. But in the long run, dealing with dealer one and dealer two, back and forth and whatever, they know that they're not your main dealer of choice, and they're much less likely to, I don't know, afford you the opportunities like that. Whereas if you stick with one small dealership, whatever, then a lot better chance of developing that relationship. Nice 15-mile-an-hour corner, doing it at 30, so some scraping. Got another one coming up here that's, oh, 10 or 15-mile-an-hour corner. It's actually sharper than that one back there. But as I was saying, some of the good things about developing those relationships with dealers, and I guess I probably should say that this video is absolutely not sponsored by Excel Motorsports. They're not a sponsor of this channel. They're not a sponsor in any way. They're just friends. Maybe down the road we can develop a partnership like that, but at this point, I don't think that my channel has much to bring to the table for them yet. I can bring content on what they have in the dealership, that type of thing, but as of right now, today, I only have 53 subscribers. Most of my videos don't get a tremendous amount of views. I've got one with 1,800 views, and even that, I mean, that's my biggest video, and even that comparative to a lot of other YouTube channels is not even a drop in the bucket. That's like day one, and it's over about a year for me. So I don't have much to bring to the table for them yet. So I would ask you, if you're watching this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, the share, get those algorithms going so that we can develop these videos into something bigger, and we can build community around riding and have a good time with it. And I just want to be able to build community here. I see a lot of YouTubers out there that have a lot of people in the comment section that they talk back and forth with, and I think it's really neat, and I'm involved in some of those. But I just think it's neat to have that sort of a community, and that's what I'm looking for in this channel. A community of like-minded riders, not necessarily always street, because I do some dirt with the Unadilla motocross track. I'm also a truck driver, so I may do some videos based on hauling propane, and I have put a little bit of religious content in because I'm also a pastor, and I'm not gonna push a lot of faith or religion on the channel, but that is who I am. So I will be sprinkling some of my faith into the channel as well. So if you are a believer, you know, welcome aboard. If you're in a hurry, come on. I guess come around me, whatever. But again, welcome aboard. If you're interested in this type of thing, and again, if you could just hit that subscribe, the like, the share, hit the bell notifications, all those things that will let you know next time we upload another video on the Paint Can channel. Have a great